Good evening, everyone. I would like to start this departmental meeting of operations. If everybody, oh, I'm sorry. Denise, can you take roll, please?
Trustee Muhammad.
Here.
Trustee Stubbs.
Here.
Trustee Pierce.
Here.
Thank you. If everyone can stand for the Pledge of Allegiance.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
If everybody can stand, continue to stand for the prayer, I would like to pray this evening. If everybody could close their eyes and bow their heads. Heavenly Father, I come to you in the name of Jesus just to thank you for another day. Thanking you for waking us up this morning and allowing us to be in our right mind, Father. Heavenly Father, I come to you in the name of Jesus just to ask you to let your will be done and to put your loving arms around this community and the people that run the community, the mayor, the trustees, and let us all do your will and not our will. In the name of Jesus, amen.
Amen.
This is new business, the water department. I have several questions for the water department, and I don't know which one of you all are going to perhaps come up to the podium and answer some of the questions that I have for the water department. Tell all you all, come at one time. And can you please state your first and last name for the record?
Hello, everybody. My name is Daryl Cruz.
Mr. Cruz, can you also state your position at the water department for the Village of Dalton?
That's hard to say. Meter reader, senior meter reader.
And how long have you been a meter reader for the Village of Dalton?
17 years.
Congratulations.
Thank you.
So my first question, abandoned properties that have the water still on, how do you attack that?
We usually make note of it and let our supervisor know. Sometime if it's too bad, I would let Matt know personally or go to PW, talk to Angie about it.
And how do you know the water is on at an abandoned property?
Well, I don't know about all of them, but sometimes if it's a bus pipe or something, you can hear it running. Or sometimes if it's bad enough, you'll see it coming out the house.
Okay. One more question for you. When you receive the bills and you notice for maybe you per se cannot answer that because of your position, but if you see a bill that's constantly being sent to an abandoned home or a reading is never done at an abandoned home, do you send anybody out there to investigate whether or not that house is abandoned?
Not really, unless someone, like a neighbor, call it a problem, or when someone do get ready to buy the property, they have to do a final water bill. So we have to get in and read the meter for that in order for them to get their transfer stamp.
And how do you get into an abandoned piece of property?
Usually like that, if it's something like that, it's usually be a realtor or a contractor or something that we meet there to let us in.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Oh, I have more questions.
Oh.
Estimated water bill, old system versus new system.
What do you mean by old system versus
The
Cameo
old system
versus
before
Locust?
Locust came into play. Because our biggest complaint is estimated bills.
Well, with Cameo, we had little problems, but we having more problems with Locust because I was told that, like say, 10 units or less is a minimum water bill.
Correct.
It was set up for estimates to be like that, which is too low. And
Can you say that a little louder?
Yes, that's too low for estimates, but it was set up to do that. Also,
And you're talking about Locust.
yes.
Okay.
Also, if you have less than 10 units, for some reason, even though you're going to still get a minimum water bill, Locust put it down as an estimate.
What is a minimum water bill? What do you mean by
10 units or less.
10 units or less is a minimum? How dollar-wise, you wouldn't know that, would you?
Oh, the whole bill come out to 134 to 135, 134 and some change.
And that's called a minimum usage? Or
Yes, it's minimum usage for the water. It's also,
100 and what?
the whole bill is 134 and some change.
That's just water, not the other
No, that's not just water, that's everything.
all three.
Oh.
Water, refuse, and sewer.
Both sewers, yeah, because we have a sewer maintenance also.
And 135?
134 and some change.
At the present time, how many meter readers are there?
At the present time, 2 full-time and a part-time.
Say it again. I'm sorry.
2 full-times and a part-time.
Thank you.
And I have here, in addition to your day-to-day duties, do you also, correct me if I'm wrong, you have appointments? Because if someone is not at home, you make arrangements for those individuals, you all, to go out and read their meter. Am I correct?
Yes.
Okay. Service of old meters, how are they checked for leaks?
Usually we check around the washers to see if they're leaking. Normally, we first look at the meter itself. If they have dials on it, the up-to-date meters, the last numbers move around detecting a leak.
Can I ask you a question about that? Are you talking about the inside or outside meter?
Inside meter.
Can I ask you on the outside?
Only one for like when we go to check meters or appointments, is better for us to go inside unless you have a touchpad. The meters with the touchpad, them the only ones that's still completely accurate.
So if a person has one on the outside, they also have one on the inside?
Oh yeah, all meters are inside and just have a reader on the outside.
Okay, because the people who have a reader on the outside who say that no one's ever been in their home before should never receive an estimated reading.
If it's a touchpad, they shouldn't, no.
Okay.
Sometimes the older meters, they're not working. The older outside meters that we call click meters that have numbers on it, sometimes the numbers come off of them, so we still need to get inside.
How do you know when the old meter is broken or out of repair? How do you know?
Which meter, inside or out?
Outside.
Well, if like in our handheld, we have the previous read. If it don't match, we'll go inside to read the meter. Then if they don't match, we know that one's not working.
And you report the outside meter as
Yes.
broken and they replace it?
Not necessarily, because some of the older meters is not capable of taking the touchpad.
So they can't be replaced,
Sometimes they just replace the whole system.
inside and outside?
Yes.
Okay.
So we have some meters that are just broken in some homes.
Few. The outsides, we don't count that as being broken because you can always go inside and read it.
Right, but the inside ones that are.
We have some. Not many, but it's some. It happens because they
Are
old.
they reported
Yes.
to be changed? Do we have?
Well, myself and my workers, we report them to our supervisor, and then it's up to them to go further.
So is it safe to assume they're not broken for long periods of time?
Well, sometimes if we can't get into the residence, it can be broken for a while, and we won't know nothing about it.
I want to follow up on that. When you report a meter broken or damaged or whatever, and you come back and a month or so later, you may read that same meter, is that proper? In other words, you
the
reported
next cycle,
something in
yeah.
May and you came back in June or July. Do you see the follow-up is done well when you report something broken or damaged?
Well, sometimes it all depends on the residents, because once our office, before you give it to Public Works called them to try to set up appointments to rectify it. So it's up to the residents.
So again, when you come back and it's not repaired, it's usually
I'll report it again.
scheduling issue, you're saying, between Public Works and that resident?
It could
Why it
be.
would not be fixed?
Could be, yes. Can't say for sure because I don't know.
Okay. I want to ask you about 14823 Kenbar, the address that you went to today. I told
Kenwood.
you. Kenwood, I'm sorry.
Yes.
Yes, can you elaborate on that after you went over there, and what did you find?
I went over there, seen that the dial on the meter was, when I went to do the reading to get the serial number, I seen that the dial was moving. So I asked, does she have any leaks in the toilet? She said no, but I also let her know that you and Mr. Young wanted me to check them again anyway. The downstairs was okay, but the upstairs had a faulty water valve.
Okay, you said it had a faulty water valve. Have you had any type of training in faulty water valves?
Well, it's constantly running. It don't take no training.
Okay, when you flush it, it just
It just keep running, yes.
Continue.
Yes.
Okay, and you gave me a reading today, and one was taken yesterday. Can you? Okay, wonderful. Okay. This is the reading
Today. Yesterday it was 27.
27.
Jump. This is a one-day jump
Just one unit.
in one day?
Yes.
Is this normally for just a single toilet to jump from
It's all-
27 to 31?
It all depends on how it's running. They kind of lucky because the valve is so old, it's running slow.
Okay,
So it was a fast running, normal running valve. It'll be a whole lot more.
okay. Okay.
Big jump in one day.
That's actually, yes, that's a big jump. I don't know if maybe Mr. Young might be able to answer this question. Businesses that's in the village of Dalton. Do you have any idea how many have not been paid? How many have not paid their monthly water bill?
Not offhand. Waiting on the.
Gotta be at the mic.
Can you go to the list?
Not offhand, I'm waiting on to get a list, all the business.
Because I inquired about this, I believe a couple of months ago, for the list of businesses that have not complied with paying their water bill. And can you tell me why you haven't received this list?
I'm waiting on the list myself. I asked my assistant for the list about 2 months ago, and I'm waiting just like you waiting.
Okay.
But now I got somebody else working on it, so I should have it real soon.
Can we all get a copy on the committee, get a copy of that list once you obtain it?
Yes.
Okay, thank you so much.
All right. You're welcome.
Any questions, trustees?
No, ma'am.
Okay. Also, I want to talk about monthly billing, because, Pat, I'm sorry to ask you this question, put you on the spot, but I need an answer. When you went to monthly, if you can go to the mic, when you all went to monthly billing for the businesses, how did you do that transaction? And how you doing today?
I'm good, everybody. From what I recall, Brian, that used to be the supervisor over there, and Mr. Stan Urban created that. And so it went in very quickly. So say this is the month of July. And my personal opinion, when it started, it was, say, in September. So the customer really wasn't given adequate notice, but that was to catch up on everything. And so it just went, and I think it bills the first of every month.
Okay. That's Brian Masiniak, am I
Right.
correct?
Right.
Do he still have, to your knowledge, do he still have any contact emails with the Village of Dalton that you know of? You can tell me later.
My personal opinion, what
Yes.
I believe he does.
Okay. Thank you so much.
Okay.
If we can also address this particular issue, take off my glasses, about ordinance number 17-00. And that is, I gave you guys a copy of it. 005. I gave you a copy of it. And this is pertaining to the vehicle stickers and what occurred. I do have to ask, because you guys, the water department, received the vehicle stickers, and I really need to know, because I was told, and I don't know it to be accurate, that you guys did not have the vehicle stickers on June 1st.
That's true.
So I need some clarification. Anybody from the water department, if you can answer that question, if you had those stickers ready for purchase on June 1st. The payment center. The payment center.
Well, that's not true. We had them on June the 1st.
Oh, that's why I'm asking
Yeah,
for
we had
clarity. Okay, thank you, Mr. Young.
You're welcome.
Well, I just have a question. Do you know when you did get them?
I don't know exactly when, but I know we had them at the 1st of June.
Okay. The only reason I'm questioning it is somebody called me up and said, they called me up in the last week of May and said they went up to the payment center and they couldn't buy a vehicle sticker.
No,
And they were turned away and said, so I called the village and they said, yeah, well, I'm sorry, we don't have them yet. And then they told me that they came up the first week of June, like the first couple days of June, and was told they still don't have them. So then I called and I spoke to, I don't know if I spoke to somebody in the water department, it might have been the front desk, and they said they would find out, and they called me. I mean, they came back to the phone and said, no, we still don't have them, but we expect them in the next day.
No, we had them because I know personally I bagged 1,000 of them in the little sleeve they went in, so I know we had them.
Okay, you just don't know what day.
No, I don't know exactly when they came in. But I believe they came in before at the end of May.
Thank you.
All right.
So I'm asking the trustees for their consent on amending ordinance number 17-005, and it's open for discussion, and how a lot of residents came on before the 15th, after they came after the 1st, to purchase their vehicle stickers, and they had to pay double the amount. Also, it was also on the access channels that they had until the 15th, and I believe it was Mr. Edward Steve that sent out the email to state that he apologized, that he made an error and didn't, am I correct, Edward, that you didn't take it down? Something to that to effect. on the website, and that actually affected a lot of residents. And my opinion, and I'm asking the committee for their opinion, to reimburse these people their money. Because if, just like the resident stated, if I go to Jules and they have a sale on bread and they have a sign that says 20 cents, and when I go take that 20-cent loaf of bread to the counter, and once I get up there, the cashier tell me, no, that's an error, that it's supposed to be $1.72, then I want it for that 20 cent because that's what you stated. So I'm asking that we actually refund these people their money. I would like for it to be put on the August 6th agenda and take a vote on it, because that's unfair. And I got several calls. I also had a text from Trustee Henry, and if I'm not mistaken, can you come up to the podium? Like your shoes.
Thank you. Yes.
I wanted to ask you, because you sent an email out to each one of us. Am I correct?
You're correct.
Because people had also contacted you about that sticker.
Yes.
So, I believe I replied to you that people had also contacted myself and several of the other trustees about giving these people their money back, because that's not fair.
I agree, but no one else responded to the email to refund the money back. When I initiated this, we was in the beginning stages before the 15th, and I thought we would have took care of it before the 15th hit, so that we wouldn't be here now saying refund the money. I was basically stating, can we give the grace period up until the 15th, so that people will not pay double.
That's why I'm asking for this ordinance to be amended again to give them a grace period of 15 days, so they could purchase a sticker like everything else.
Okay, so how will we do that? How will we refund the money, or what are you suggesting?
Well, who am I looking for? I'm looking for Janice Johnson. And we briefly talked about that. Very, very briefly talked about how we could possibly refund them or credit the people their money back that paid double. Do you sort of recall that? Briefly.
So what we can do, we can submit a refund request, and it would have to go on the warrant list, and you guys would have to approve it. So the residents can come in, bring the receipt, we fill out a refund request, submit it for board approval, and then we cut checks.
Okay, thank you.
So I have a suggestion. For those that owe for water bill, instead of refunding money, can you just apply it to the water bill? Just a suggestion, throwing ideas out.
I wouldn't go with that.
So you have to give a check to each resident?
Right.
Okay.
Wow, I wish we could do it the way you're saying.
Yeah, we need the revenue.
Because, I mean, I do think
Mike.
that we should refund the money, because we made an error. Not only did we make that error, I had two residents tell me that the phone recording still said we were open on Saturday, and they went to purchase a vehicle sticker on Saturday the 30th, and they couldn't purchase their sticker because we are not open on Saturday. And so I don't know how many, they said there were several other people in line trying to do that, but I don't know how many other people were there. And they said that it didn't just happen that Saturday, there were other Saturdays that people showed up. And so I called, I sent an email to Ms. Johnson and Mayor Rogers, and they got it changed immediately. But it just that we cost some people money. I'm sure we didn't cost everybody money that bought stickers late because of the web page or the phone. Some people just buy stickers after the time, but we probably need to honor July 1st to July 15th in refunding, but it's going to get more difficult than that because some people got moving citations. So if we refund the vehicle stickers, it would only be right to refund those citations during the 1st and the 15th. So that's what the board would have to vote on, in my opinion.
Can I?
Absolutely.
To answer Trustee Hinyard's question, and I think it goes back to Ms. Johnson, is that as long as they bring in proof of their receipt that they paid after the first through the 15th, and then we have to do something with Chief Collins also, because we got to pull in those citations that you're referring to, Trustee, so we can do the refund on that also, because the reason why they got the violation was because of the not having a sticker. Maybe the chief can chime in on how that can be done, because I doubt if it's hundreds. Chief, would you know by now? Or
Thank you, trustee.
thank you.
So at the expiration date, the officers aggressively start writing citations when they're able to. So it could be hundreds of tickets right now, but we just have to go through the system and do a specific pull for between the dates that you mentioned and track it down that way.
So I think we should do both, Trustee Pearson, is to do a audit on the tickets related to the sticker, and then them bringing in their receipts, and then just refunding them that monies.
Yes.
Although technically, at least with the police, there was no monies transacted because there's no case yet, no court case or anything like
Well,
that.
persons
They came in right
are
away.
able to pay their tickets without having to go to court. If they don't necessarily have to wait for the court date. So there are people that potentially have already paid their citation.
So you can ferret those out and see who did and who didn't.
I'm sure we'd be able to.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Yes, sir.
But there'll be administrative cost in going through this. So
Well, somebody's going to have to do the
Yes.
work, so it's going to be labor intensive.
the only question I have is for Ms. Johnson. There is no way we could transfer that money to a water bill, because I know it's probably a lot of work, but I would love to. Say what? Thank you.
Come on, Pat.
My opinion again, I think before we start doing all that, we need to sit down, the water department, with the trustees, to come up with a plan of what ifs. Because even if we thought about putting the credit on the bill, some of these are private owners, some of these are renters, some of these may be owned by law firms. Some of these properties could be multi-car properties. So say if it were my house and I had, well, if I rented the house, but it's still in my name, and there are 4 people that live on that property and live in that house that have cars. So if I apply the credit to the bill, it's going to come to me. You won't get yours, you won't get yours, you won't get yours. So that it's too many of that going on. We have some accounts, unfortunately, that just say resident, doesn't have a name on it. So that check is going to come out resident.
Okay.
Yeah, so that's definitely a no-no.
So that person would
That's a
have
big
to,
issue.
that person would have to physically come in anyway for us to do this refund. So we're giving that to an individual, and that individual would have to in turn give that name. In other words, if I came and got a vehicle sticker, I came to you and you're at the window most of the time to drive through. You still do that?
Yeah, still there.
So when I come in, I have to come in with my ID, as long as it matches the date of that, my receipt and the whole bit. We just give them that, we give them a check in their name, or? Okay, we just give them a check in their name. I think that'll be simpler than trying to do some credit. I think that's what you're saying.
Yeah, and even one of the what ifs. I'm a person that keeps my receipt. You're a person that only keeps your receipt for 2 weeks and throws it out. So I got charged. Now I can't produce the receipt. What are you going to do for me?
You can't pull it up if I give you my information?
That would take a lot of man hours to, if it's that many. It can sometime be done. The way the system is set up, if my name is spelled BYRD and somebody put it in BYRD period, it won't come up. So you have to sit and search. You may even have to search by the number on the sticker. It's not something that you can just walk up and I can find right away. I'm going to have to say, well, let me do some checking into this and get back to you.
You were back by the 1st through the 15th. Were you over there during that time?
No, I was on
Away
disability.
on your- okay. I'm just trying to get an estimate if anybody knows about how many did it between the 1st and the 15th. We wouldn't. Okay. Okay. Thank you.
So that's why I say if we could sit down and go through these what ifs, then we could probably lock into something.
Well, my opinion, we do need to do that, but are you saying our computer is not capable of generating a list from the 1st to the 15th, and also those who paid double?
It probably could by way of putting in a program. It could spit out something, but then somebody has to go one by one by one. Say it's 20,000 residents, so you'd have to go one by one by one. I don't know if it's going to come out alphabetical or street address or serial number. We don't know.
Maybe we should talk to Dennis Montgomery and see if there's something he could come up with. Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you, Pat. Also, ladies and gentlemen, come on up, Mr. Young.
Come to the mic.
Trustee Pierce, they did extend it past that Friday deadline to that Saturday. I don't know how it was put out, but they say they can get it at the currency exchange on that following Saturday after the deadline that Friday. So they did go an extra day with the stickers. And about that list, I just thought about it. My sister's saying she doing everybody else's job, so maybe y'all can give me some help and I can get them lists for y'all.
Hold it. Say that. You don't have enough help? Is it?
No, I don't have enough help, according to my assistant, because she doing everybody else's job, so maybe y'all can give me some help over there.
To my understanding, you have two new hires.
You have 2 new hires, right?
One so far, but 2, yeah. One ain't started yet.
Does she have a start date?
The 30th.
30th?
But they laying off, the 2 part-timers gonna be leaving. So we got 2 full-time and losing 2 part-time.
Well, because they're going beyond the hours of the state statute, they're going over the hours so that we don't pay.
Now they're not going over the hour, they saying we got too many people.
Who said that?
Well, that was told to me from the assistant.
Oh, from her.
That
Okay.
I guess she came over and said we short, but she tell me we need help. So I'm confused.
Okay, we'll check into that, Mr. Young. Thank
They
you.
say they had this all in place before I even got here about the part-timers they wanted them to go full-time. That's how we ended up with the 2 full-timers. But now she says she doing everybody else's work, so we short. That's why I ain't got y'all list. So maybe y'all can help us out.
Thank you. And this is just for discussion. This, because also, Ms. Johnson, trustees, residents, also I wanted to state about this particular incident about giving a credit for next year's sticker. So that's also something to talk about. If they produce their receipts and they give a credit for next year and they won't have to purchase a sticker for next year.
But some of them might move out of the village.
Well, if
Money back.
okay, well, that's what this meeting is for discussion.
Yeah.
You know, we're not up here voting on anything. We're just discussing it. And I'm all in favor for any ideas to rectify this, because these residents need to be compensated for the error that the village made. And that concludes the water department, unless you trustees have anything else to?
So we concur to take it to August 6th, to change the amendment to add 15-day grace period, and with some type of addendum to refund. What's the term you used? Something refund, you said?
Refund request.
Refund requests by the residents who purchased a vehicle sticker between the dates of July 1st to the 15th. So that would have to be in that language too, just for this year, unless we do, something different. That's what I'm saying. We just do it clean, where they got a refund, and we're done with it.
Okay. And
That's what we should do.
and so therefore we'll put it on the agenda for August the 6th. Will there be enough time for you to check everything out? Thank you so much. So, if there are no other questions, that will conclude the water department, and we can move on to Public Works. Any questions? Any residents?
Is it public participation?
Not yet.
Not yet.
We have Public Works services, and then it would be, it's not on there, but it is public address. After that, right, trustee? Ms. Creighton was asking for
Yes.
public, and I just said it's just not, it's just a typo.
So, you know what? If you all don't mind, I would like to have public address for the water department and public address for Public Works. So if any residents would like to come forth and ask any questions about the water department, you have 3 minutes. Please feel free to come to the podium. You want me to hold the baby?
Good evening. My question concerning the water department and the issues that we just discussed, I do think that I commend the trustees all for considering or taking it to the full board about the refund, because I think it's unfair, and I do think that it should be honored. If it was posted, it was honored. Because I'm going to tell you, if I go into a store and that item that price is above that item, then I expect to get that item for that price. And I ask to speak to the manager, and so on and so on. We all know that being we shoppers. I mean, you go to the store and you expect them to honor that price. I also would like to know what is his position in the water department? What is his job description? Because I asked that before and I never got an answer on the job description. He said he didn't have it yet. Because if you're saying that he still needs help, then what is his job description? What is his job description on what entails the position that he facilitates in the water department?
Well, Ms. Creighton, the only thing that I could possibly tell you is he was picked by Mayor Riley Rogers. He's the director of the water department. I would have to get a description from the HR on his job duties, because as you might know and you might not know, the mayor chooses the department heads. And we have asked that question on numerous occasions, even before he was hired. Who was he hiring? And I don't know if you were here or not at the board meeting. He told us, and maybe, I hope I'm quoting him right, Well, he stated that he had to see that the young man still wants the job. And at the following board meeting, if I'm not mistaken, and I could be mistaken, he had hired him.
Okay, but I'm just trying to get a clarification of what his job description is, because he's saying that you asked him a question about a list, and he said he didn't have the list. 2 months ago, the question was asked, or a report was asked for, and you still didn't have the report, and it's 2 months later. I'm trying to, you know what, I'm not trying to browbeat anybody.
Absolutely.
But my concern is that there should be a job description to come with the gentleman that he replaced someone. Is that correct?
You know,
I just think that it should be a job description.
it should be a job description to all the jobs in the village.
I agree, but I'm trying to understand where the help needs to be in place at. Because if he has a position and you hire another person, then where does that come from? Why does he still need help? And I thought we had discussed this in length at a regular meeting.
We did. We discussed, and also we discussed in an executive session about hiring, was it 2 part-times?
For the meter readers?
2 part-times for the meter readers. Also, we have an ordinance in place, Ms. Creighton, that any hirees supposed to come to the board for the consent of the board also, and that have not been done.
So, and then also the other concern is that we're asking that, remember I asked about the interchange of the hardware, being able to talk with each other? Or do we have those things in place? We're talking about things that can cut down on man-hour if those systems are constantly, they can relate to each other.
Absolutely, and I understand, and that's why I asked about the old system and the new system today, because it seemed to me, if my memory served me right, we received this new system, Locust, in 2015. Am I correct, Pat? Okay, Daryl, 2015. Then, all of a sudden, my opinion, the chaos, estimated billing, people getting at these outrageous prices. So that's why I'm asking about the old system, because in my opinion, I think we were doing better with the older system. Now, I could be wrong, but this is what it appeared to me, that we didn't have as many complaints about the estimated bills until we received this system, and this been going on for a while. So maybe we need to take a look at the system that we actually have and think about going back to the old system or another system, because obviously this system is broke. Hi, Mr. Creighton.
Hi, I'm sorry. First of all, we're babysitting, so I apologize for the kids. Relative to the refund, the form is a carbon. Could you use those carbons to kind of identify who gets a refund? Because I'm kind of concerned, too, everybody doesn't keep their receipts, and you certainly want to make sure that everybody gets their proper refund. But I'm saying, couldn't you just kind of, use the dates on the carbon copy to identify those that fell into that first to the 15th, and maybe run a report, and on that is a identifying number as well. Could you possibly use those numbers to try to identify who gets a refund? And that way, maybe you can be a little proactive and make sure that everybody gets their fair share.
Well, I would have to turn that question over to Pat, because I'm not familiar with that, or are you familiar with that?
A report can be ran for all of the sticker transactions between the live person and the live page. And we can identify sticker numbers and the individual that made the purchase.
That's all we need. Repeat that.
Can you repeat that?
There's a report that can be ran for all transactions between the 1st and the 15th, and it has the sticker number as well as the plate number and the individual that purchased it.
Okay. Thank you, Ms. Johnson. Commissioner, good evening.
Good evening, board, residents, department heads. My name is Stan Brown. Some of my questions got answered. So can we bet on this here refund from July the 1st to July the 15th? That's safe to go back and tell residents that it's a good possibility of get reimbursed? I'm sorry.
Well, you know, that's up to the board decision on the 6th. Only could speak for myself that I am truly in favor of the residents getting a refund, and according to these two gentlemen here, these fine trustees, they're in agreement also. And of course, Ms. Hinyard that's sitting in the audience, she's in agreement to it. And, you know, I would talk to the other trustees and hopefully, prayerfully, that they would agree that this was wrong, and let's turn this wrong into a right.
So if that can happen, that'd be great. I'm just writing out a message, and I guess I was fortunate to get mine on time, but it does happen. So I want to be able to relate this back to some of the individuals that's, you know, pretty up in arms on this here.
And also, Mr. Brown, Commissioner, and also I would like to talk to the trustees about amending this ordinance, so that won't happen anymore.
Well, that'd be great. That'd be great. So I got a little something to talk about when I go back. Now, also on garbage day pickup, I know individuals can park in front of anyone's home that they would like, and it's a public street. Now, on garbage day, when the individual garbage can is out there and the garbage truck cannot get to that can, they would just bypass it, and that garbage can will be left there. And I believe it can be ticketed for that. Can that vehicle be ticketed?
Blocking the trash can?
Yes. Okay. Is it possible that they can be given some type of a warning, on their vehicle? Because it's happening, you know, quite often with some individuals. We had some residents that don't get along with others, and they make it their business to park and, you know, make a little chaos going on right there, that they don't get their garbage picked up, and they actually have to pay
Really?
$61.50.
You hear that with you? I would like to take a peep at it.
Yeah, this is my bill right here. You know, garbage is $61.50.
Oh, and they have to pay, I'm sorry, they have to pay an additional.
Well, I mean, you still have to pay for your garbage. You know, you're going to be billed for that, but if your garbage do not get picked up, you know, you're getting cheated, you know, from the service that you duly was, that you should be getting. Mm-hmm. So that's been a big question, and it's happening on a couple other blocks just as well as mine, where people don't get a chance to get their garbage picked up. They miss that date. Then I'm pretty certain you guys get a call in here and you have to send Homewood back out or something for some reason to pick up someone's garbage?
No.
Did that ever happen?
Oh, yeah. I've had to do that myself.
Normally, well, what I have done, and they gave me some cockamamie excuse why my garbage wasn't picked up. I called Homewood, they came right back and picked it up.
Well, that's just something that's actually happened. So
yeah.
I haven't experienced it, and I'm listening to other residents that have been in that position, because I think strongly for seniors, and I'm more or less kind of talking for them, because if that's something can be looked at, we're giving these individuals warning so they can stop parking there, blocking people from getting their garbage, and also.
Commissioner, on that, I just sent the chief a complaint with that same issue, where a resident said the neighbor next door parks right up against her garbage can so that Homewood won't pick up her garbage, and it's happened a few times. So we do need to talk about that, and I don't think we have anything in place for it, but we probably should try to put something in place. So we'll talk about it at probably Police and Fire Committee, or just talk amongst ourselves to see what we think we could come up with, and the chief is working on it from his end, but I don't think there's anything in place. But it shouldn't happen. But I have seen residents on my block call Homewood, and they come right back, usually the same day, at no extra charge.
There's no extra charge?
They didn't charge my neighbors.
Okay. Maybe we can talk about the Police Connect meeting tonight at 7 o'clock at Melody's. All right. Let me scoot up right quick. I heard you say you was looking at hiring 2 more meter readers, because right now it's 3 zones, right? 1, 2, 3. And we got 2 full-time and 1 part-time. So each meter reader get a zone apiece? Okay.
They work all through districts, but they get an area.
Okay, I'm trying to get educated right here. Now, if you have everyone has a water meter inside their home. Some don't have a meter on the outside. So some seniors don't make it to door in time. They get a yellow card. They can't even get to their meter reader. They even put a number on there. So they're going to get an estimate for the most part of it, because some of them can't even get to their basements anymore. And some of these meter readers are up in little cracks, because basically I do a lot of meter reading for a lot of seniors, and it's hard getting up in there. So they're going to get an estimate bill almost every 3 months.
So when they receive the yellow card, they can always call and make an appointment, and we'll send a meter reader out to get an actual reading from inside the house.
Okay. All right. Well, they need to know they can call for someone to come out there and make appointment.
Yes.
Because some people, they're getting dialysis. They may not be home when the meter reader comes. So they're having a big problem with that. A lot of seniors. I've been hearing that from a lot of seniors. They can't even get the meter read themselves, and they don't even know how to read the meters.
And a lot of them can't see to read the meters.
Yeah,
So-
a lot of us can't see too well.
See too well.
So I catch the same problem. So we can kind of, take heed to that. That's the basement.
And talking to seniors, that's what I found out, that they can't even see the numbers anymore, and they cannot go down. If it's located in the basement, they can't get down the stairs. So that's why I asked Mr. Cruz, in addition to reading the meters, just like he went out today and had some appointments, he also take care of the appointments when they call and schedule an appointment with the water department to come and read their meters.
Okay, and the gentleman that left, he's the manager of the water department?
Yes.
Okay.
Department head.
Oh, department head. I had a little question from him, but I guess he's a little busy. One more thing, let me hit. Okay, I won't mess with that one. If possible, if it's a opening for any meter readers, there's some young gentlemen that's looking for that position to be able to come out and do some meter readings, because I'm hearing you guys are short of meter readers.
We actually agreed to hire 2 part-timers. That information is supposed to be put up on the web, so hopefully it went up. Don't know. I will check it to see that information go up on the web.
And one more thing.
And they can fill out an application.
You had mentioned some time ago, Trustee Pierce, about when they're reading the meters, if they're doing estimates, to estimate it higher. Are we doing that?
No, we're not. The board didn't see fit to do that. I thought we should do it because if I'm using 20 units of water and they estimate me at 10, I'm going to get an estimated bill below my usage. And when they finally read my meter and find out that I used 100 units last year more than they billed me for, I'm going to get a big bill with sticker shock, and I'm going to march up to the village. And the first thing I'm going to say is, I've been paying $130 and now y'all billing me $700. Why? So I thought that we should bring the minimum estimated bill up to reflect closer to the usage. But at the time, they said, let's get the water department in order before we make any changes. which made some sense. Let's straighten out all the problems that we have, but that still don't help the resident, because the resident is going to get that sticker shock bill if it takes us a year to get the water department together, the payment center and the water meter readers, whatever we got to get together. If it takes a year, the resident's going to continue to get sticker shock. And that's what I was trying to do, is prevent them from getting that big bill that they couldn't handle.
Okay, that was explained pretty good. One more thing. Where are we at now with this bill? How much do we owe the city of Chicago?
We actually just had a meeting, myself, Trustee Pearson, Attorney Murphy, the City of Chicago, along with their counsel and 2 persons from their finance department. We owe them $8.1 million with 15% interest that's running as you and I speak and sleep. They're unbudging, and we're still in negotiations of working with them, but our preliminary talks with them is they're unbudging with that interest rate unless we do some other things, which we're working on, which we may present on August 6th. But to answer your question, it's $8.1 million. Okay. And that's real.
Are we on a payment plan as of yet?
That's what we're negotiating on. We're negotiating on a 10-year payment plan. They wanted 5 years, but they did budge on the giving us 10. But in lieu of 10 years, they want a substantial down payment, and we got to bring that to the board and see what they think about us releasing those type of funds from the sale of the Dorchester, because we don't have it in the general fund. There is no monies in the general fund, and there is no monies in what we call the water fund per month. She gets approximately $20,000 out of the water fund that comes back to the village after paying the city of Chicago and paying the workers in that department. Okay. So that will be discussed at the August 6th meeting.
And do we have a water bill account?
When you say
the money's not going into the general fund, we have a separate account?
Yeah, what they demanded of us is that we have what's called segregated funds. So that means, to answer your question, that money's going directly into those funds. They cannot be taken out like they were before to pay, your general obligations. It's strictly for the water fund. We can't touch it. It goes directly into those accounts.
How long has that been in effect?
Let's see. I can't give you the date, but it had to be a few months ago, because when we got the suit, when Murphy filed, they had some stipulation, and we went into that right away. So by the time we saw the judge, which we saw last week, was that last Monday? This past Monday, that those accounts, because they asked that, were those accounts into place? They want to know what collections that we have in place for those individuals that owe monies for water. They want us to tighten down on all of that, because we're trying to avoid going into receivership like the city of Harvey.
Okay, it's good, because that was something that, since 2013, being a part as a trustee, that was someone was fighting about since 2013 to have a separate account, and it's been a battle. And now we at $8.1 million. Yeah. And at that time in 2013, we was like at 1 point something million that we owed the city of Chicago. And I think if we had had that account back then, we would have been in better shape, because that money's been going in the general funds and going willy-nilly. Okay, thank you.
I just want to do one more thing. Pat, can you come up and talk about just briefly the come on up here, it'll come back to me real quick. What did you ask? You asked a question. Oh, about the raising the estimated bill. You and I talked about that briefly today.
Well, we did. We talked about it today. Currently, the minimum on the water is $56.10. That actually covers a 3-month period. So if you break it down, it's like $18 or something per month. So if we have, and again, my opinion, I would believe that 80% of the village is behind in the water bill. So if they have, and we'll just say a $300 bill now, and if we change that $56.10, they can't pay the $300. If we change it to increase, which we should have thought about that before that was done, then that $300 that they owe, they're going to struggle to pay $600. If we're going to do it, it needs to be something that should be planned for 2019, late 2019, with a lot of conversation with the citizens, you know, by way of inserts in the bill. You got to get current, you got to get your meters read, because this is what it's going to look like. So they're having a hard time meeting basics, 134.60, and if we increase that, it's not going to be pretty. It's going to hurt them real bad.
You just mentioned two. You said the estimated bill is $56 and some change.
And 10 cents for water.
And then you said the minimum usage is $134.60.
Right.
What's the difference between the two?
That's the trash, which is $61.50.
I mean, minus the trash.
Oh yeah, just the
Not the trash.
$56.10.
$56.10
For water.
includes water and sewer.
I
Or
know,
just water?
just water.
Okay, so
Sewer is that $15
Right.
plus 20% of the usage. So if you use 14 units, then 20% of that is what, $2.80. So you would add that $56.10 plus the $2.80.
So it sounds like what has to come out of your department is some kind of comprehensive plan of what you're talking about. Whether you raise it or whatever, it has to be something done so that whatever this plan is long range. It looks into all avenues so that nobody's got sticker shock and whole bit. Your years of being there, do you see anything now that we have some new management in place? Do you see any kind of change or any meetings taking place that we're going to get a hold of this anytime soon? And I hate to ask employees because everybody's restricted because of this political atmosphere. So you can be earnest and frank, and you all need to understand there is an ordinance in place that you can have freedom of speech. I don't know if anybody knows about that you cannot get fired for your opinion if you speak in your opinion. In your experience and what you witnessed, do you see any change on the horizon, especially since we got locusts that we came from the other system, which is called Cameo? And you've been there just as long as anybody else, right?
The changes that have occurred over the last couple of years have hurt because they were implemented without discussion, and the raises were like that $15 raise on the sewer, even though we realized that it had to try to do the infrastructure, but that was a killer because then people used to pay $2. So it went from 15 plus 20% of the usage. So if you're one of those folks that you use 30, so that's $6 plus the 15, that's 21, when it used to be $2. So that $15 hurt a lot. If that didn't exist, from that $134.60, you take that off, plus that little extra on the usage, that $134.60 would come down. But I don't know if that has gone into a separate account. But no, other than that, I see no changes, no improvement, other than we're just listening more to the citizens and we're understanding what they say, and just we're reviewing their bills going back years. Just when you call up, say, hey, this is a problem. So I'm like, oh, no, that's what it says. We're really taking a look at it to see if there's something in there. We get the meter readers involved. We get Public Works involved to go out and take a look. And then we still have a conversation with the citizen. Because everything that they tell you is not necessarily true either. But on our part, it's a lot of old stuff that we're dealing with. And until we can fix that, I don't see any changes, because we got to fix step one to get to where we are right now.
Okay, what is your opinion of the locust system?
Locust, from what I understand, was a system that belonged to, and I think it was Naperville. It didn't work for them. So then it came to us. So when it came with a package probably like this, but our training was probably like this, so we didn't know everything about it. And then when they put it in, they lumped everything together, which created a problem for District 3 that we ended up fixing, and that was in 2015. So it didn't do everything that Cameo could do. Cameo did basic stuff. Locust was supposedly sophisticated, but it doesn't, to use the term, communicate with anything. So it's not for us. We're seeing stuff that we think is being spit out of Locust, but because we're not the engineers or the computer people, we can't really say if that really created the problem. But we see the change. We know there's a change. Can't put our fingers on it.
Okay, thank you.
You're welcome.
Come on up, Mr. Creighton.
Just for a little clarification, so I can kind of wrap my head around this. I think I heard you say that right now we owe Chicago in excess of $8 million,
Yes, sir.
and we're paying 15% interest
on that.
per month?
Interest and penalties. It's accrued on an annual basis, so that means since we've been in arrearages, it's up to 18.1. It was a little lower, but as we speak, it continues, and they said it will continue. And when we do our when we negotiate, it may come down, but we'll see at our next. When was the next?
8.1.
Yeah. What is our? I'm sorry, 8.1. When is our next meeting with the city of Chicago? It was.
We're waiting on, it's probably going to be around the 8th. We're waiting on Yvonne Redmond.
Yeah, it was after her honeymoon. It was.
Yeah.
Sometime in August, we're going to meet with them again.
Okay, because I'm awful concerned, because if you got an $8 million bill,
Yes.
and you're getting 15% interest, accrued, that's somewhere around 1.2 million.
A year.
Okay, year, that's 1.2 million.
Yeah.
And we're continue to talk about deficits.
Yes.
That's a big hit right there,
Right.
1.2 million.
Yes, sir.
Now also, what is our average monthly billing from Chicago for water?
$275 a month.
275,000 a month.
$275,000 per month.
And they want that's the regular usage per month, and we don't collect all of that. Remember, that's what the issues that we're having. It's $275, plus they want the arrearages on top of that.
Okay.
Like 67.
Okay.
Should I get them that number now? You think that'd be too premature to give them? Okay, this is what they want from us, Mr. Creighton. They want us to pay them $67,500 a month for the next 10 years on top of the $275.
Okay.
We don't have it.
All right.
We only have approximately $20,000 in that fund that I think your wife asked about as segregated funds. I think it was your
Okay.
wife, or was it Trustee Brown? Trustee Brown.
Well,
We don't have it. We don't have it. And
Well-
we told, just like when you talking and somebody say they don't have your money, you see, I understand that. But I mean, we were sitting up and it was like Goodfellas. I don't know if anybody's familiar with the movie Goodfellas. That's what I think you were Joe Pesci in there, Trustee Pearson.
it sounds like, and
It was
I'm by
rough.
no means an expert, and I'm not that close to it, but it really sounds like there's a systems problem. And, it sounds like maybe you need a system analyst. And if I were looking at this, I would want a system that would closely reflect the guy that's billing me, Chicago, because they seem to be doing okay with their billing and their water. So I think that maybe something is just not working. And if we put a little bandage on it, this is just going to continue. Because it sounds, for everything I'm listening to, if we fixed it today, in 6 months you're going to have the same problem, because you've got to get bills read and correct on a monthly or whatever that cycle is basis. If you don't do that and you keep continuing to get these estimated bills, it just mushrooms, okay? So, it sounds really like someone really needs to look at that whole system and get a system. Other villages, maybe you can look at what they're doing that's working well. But I hate to think that this is going to continue, because it's going to cost all of us.
And that's why, Mr. Creighton, I asked about Cameo and versus Locust. Because as I was over there talking to the water department today, and I'm thinking, when did this estimated stuff start? And to my recollection, it started in 15, and they verified it. It was 15, and that's when this new system came in. And if I'm not mistaken, Denise, you have a very good sharp memory. Was that 15?
It's 15 when Locust came in.
Right, when Locust came in.
always had estimated bills, maybe just not as.
Not, right, not like it is today with all the problems that go along with it. So that's why I was asking about the system.
Okay.
Because the system the system is broke.
Okay, and I think that you're right. You got to look there, and I'm retired. I'm glad to be retired. But when I was working, anytime I had a systems problem, before I went to a solution, I went to the user. Okay, because I guarantee you, with extended conversation with those that are in that department that work on it on a daily basis, they will give you most of what you need to correct the system and or get a system that will work for all of us. So that's just food for thought. Thank you.
Mr. Creighton, it's not all in the water department with the system that's over there. Mm-hmm. We have to keep one thing in mind, that water main breaks plays such a big part, because sometimes people see a water main break and nobody say anything because it's not affecting their basement. But that water's running, and it's running on that same tab. And that water might run all night before somebody calls Public Works or calls somebody to say, hey, there's water running out here.
Well,
also, we have increases from the city of Chicago that was not passed on for several years. And when they raise it 25%, say that translates to $400,000 or $500,000 extra a year they're going to get. And when we don't pass it on, that goes back on the village's pile. So that's part of that $8.1 million that we have each year that came from not passing it on because everybody didn't want to raise the residents' water rate. But Chicago's giving it to us, and we're going to have to pay it, and so that bill just gets bigger and bigger and bigger. So if you got water main breaks and you got increases not being passed on, and then you have some people that just won't pay their water bill, you add all these things together, and it's a lot of money. And then the board was being told that Chicago was being paid.
Yes.
You see it on the warrant list, $200 and something thousand, and this board has always been told that the checks are going to be cut or they're going to be paid once we approve the warrant list, and that money to Chicago was not being mailed out.
And I appreciate that, and thank you so much. And I wasn't trying to imply that all the problems in one thing, but with everything that you mentioned, it's all systemic.
Yes.
So I would think, once again, instead of putting that Band-Aid on it, fix the whole problem. Fix it once.
Yes.
If the water main breaks, and I'd like to know as a citizen, well, how much is this costing? And I think if you can hit people and give them facts, then maybe they could wrap their brain about it and be more proactive about getting on board and helping fix this, and maybe even paying the bills. But it's hard to grasp this when we speak not in facts. We know it's costing money. No water main. How much does it cost? What if the water main is broken? What's the process? What's the system? You understand? What do you do? Do you say my neighbor may call, or do you call, or is there an emergency number? It's the system. Fix it top to bottom. Try to cover every possible issue that you might have. And if we do that, maybe we won't get it perfect, but we got to get it better. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Creighton.
Are we public participation in that?
If it's pertaining to the water bill.
Definitely.
Okay, and we...
You're going to close up? But my concern is that with the water department, since the executive, we don't have a job description for the individual that was hired, why can't Miss Pat be the director or administrator, since she knows what and have been there? So I'm trying to get a fix on responsibilities and people being able to understand what's going on.
And Ms. Creighton, again,
Talking about the mayor.
the department heads are chosen by Mayor Riley Rogers.
Okay, so, and then my concern is that we need to be attentive. That's why I think it's so important for every trustee to be aware of who those individuals are. And you'll see copies of their resumes to see what they're bringing to the Village of Dalton. See, because my thing is that when you say that we're $8 million deficit, and I think we understood that we were able to borrow from the Water Department fund to pay other bills, right? Is that how we got there?
No.
No.
What had occurred was the trustees was not informed that money from the water fund was being transferred to the general fund and was being spent.
Well, that's what I'm saying, because everybody, I didn't miss a finance meeting, so I'm trying to figure out how that was done, and was able to be done without the trustees knowing it, the elected officials knowing that. Because anytime you transfer money from A to B to C to D, it has to have an approval on it. Those are the things that, I'm sorry, Ed, those are the things that I learned through Mr. Creighton being on the school board, going to those workshops. So I'm really trying to understand and get a greater understanding. And yes, there are people that don't pay their water bill fully because they can't afford it. So therefore, looking at how we're going to fix the problem, adjust the problem, I think it needs to be well understood, and understand that I love all of you all.
We know, Ms. Creighton.
But my thing is this, let's be real, okay?
Absolutely.
We have funds going out of our village because everybody don't live here.
Absolutely.
Everybody don't live here. And I don't mean no hardship on anyone, but in the city of Chicago, my son-in-law is a police officer. He has to live in Chicago. My daughter has to live in Chicago. Her children are in school in Chicago. So I have a concern with that. I understand there are certain perimeters to, I think it was, I know that, but the mileage on how you get there or why you're here, and the individuals that were already here and the grandfathered in. So I appreciate that. But I do know, I'm going to even say Edward bought a house in the Village of Dalton. You work here, right? The taxpayers pay you. So you felt it was important to buy a home here, right? And that was for a new hire. I understand the grandfather's in, but I do understand that there's a lot of money that's going out of this village. It's not resurfacing itself to help us in our growth. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Creighton. If there are no further questions, I would like to conclude the Water Department. I need a motion.
You're not going to blend, you're not going to Public Works?
Well, I could. I can go and do it all together. Okay. And I thank you for all the great questions that you had. So we're going to go straight into Public Works. We have had the Pledge of Allegiance, and we've also have had prayer. Mr. Stacy, if you don't mind, can you come up to the podium? I have a few questions and concerns. How you doing this evening?
Oh, I'm doing quite well.
Wonderful. I ride around this city every day, and I see branches laying everywhere. I see branches that are old, that have been laying there for a long time. I understand about the ordinance and tying the branches up into 4 feet. 4 inches. That was funny. 4 feet. 4 feet, and placing them By the sidewalk, okay. A lot of people that have these giant branches, you can't cut it down into 4 feet. You have seniors that have somebody to do theirs. And you have people like myself, and I'm not quite senior age, but I'm working on it. I can't do it. And these, so I even seen, and I've rode around with code enforcement. We've actually, I think that was you and I, trustee, where the gentleman had great big dead branches sitting in front of his house. He said he'll do his best. And this is all around town. Everywhere you go, you got just about on every block. I went out yesterday. I was on Hastings. The branches are older than me. That's been sitting there that long, turning brown. I was told on numerous occasions that the village truck follow the garbage truck and pick up that debris. Also, I was told if you have them tied up in 4 feet, that Homewood Disposable will pick them up. I don't know what's the true story because they laying everywhere, and it's an eyesore in the community. The residents are angry, and I don't blame them because I'm angry too when I look at them. Can you explain to me how this is done if I don't have mine tied up in 4 feet and placed in the street? If they're just placed in the street, if I cut down a bush, a dead bush, place it in the street, then who pick it up?
If you trim trees, put them out in the park where you can't tie them up, we will come out and pick them up. All you have to do is call the office, give them your address, tell them, you have branches out front, and we'll come out as soon as we get one of the machines that are out running that day, or if it be the following day. Homewood, they should be picking them up if they're tied up. If they're not, or if they're not picking them up and they're tied up, any resident can call Public Works. I can make a phone call to Homewood. Usually they're good about coming out and picking them up if they're tied up properly the way they want them. Otherwise, we'll have to get them picked up and cleaned up.
Okay. Now I have to state this. Branches have been out there and they have called. I spoke with a young lady, Miss Gloria, yesterday.
Okay.
They have called and called and called. Your office even gave them, the young lady, the address. And yeah, we know you're on the list, but this have gone on forever.
Okay.
Okay, and she's not the only one. It's a lot of them.
Okay.
Okay, and are they placed on the list?
Yeah, we have a list.
You have a list.
Yeah.
So there's nobody going around the village, no public works worker going around the village that you pass right down. You're doing trees at his house.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because he called.
Mm-hmm.
My house is located right next door. I kid you not.
Mm-hmm.
And you pick up his because he called.
Mm-hmm.
You don't pick up mine, and mine are right next door because I did not call.
Mm-hmm.
Now, that don't make sense to me, and you right there. And because it just don't make sense. I've stated on numerous of occasions that I thought the supervisors supposed to ride around the community and see what need to be done. And when I ride around, I see all of these brown limbs, leaves, big trees laying down in the street. And one of my greatest fears is a kid come and play and fall on that. And I have plenty pictures, and I can send them all to you.
Mm-hmm.
So because if you already out there and you in the truck and you see that and you right next door and you don't pick that up,
I agree with you.
That don't make sense to me.
I agree with you.
So
same way when we get sheets in for a pothole or something. I got to physically write on the sheet, do the whole block. Because we'll just do the one hole.
And that
So
have happened too.
I write on the sheets, do the whole block. If you get a complaint from a house, do the whole block. Should be the same way with the branches. We tell them, pick up the whole block. If you see piles on there, grab them all.
You recall the gentleman that called me at 3 o'clock in the morning to tell me about the potholes?
Yeah, you told me about that.
Now, and you did go over there, and what was done, let me tell you. You know, because when I ask you to do something, you know, to check out something and take care of it, I go back to follow up. On Clark Street, you did in front of his house, but after you pass his house, you see 45 potholes right there. So, you know, are you blind? And I'm not speaking to you per se.
No, I totally understand.
Or
I know where you're coming from.
Do your supervisor check behind the workers to make sure that they have done what you assign them to do? You know, because
we go around, we go and check up on them. Not all the time. I figure, you know, grown men, they can complete their job when given to them, because we are down on manpower. We're down 2 guys right now. We got 1 guy off hurt, so we can use extra manpower. But yeah, we go around and we check them. I was out today checking stuff that was supposed to be completed. I found some wasn't, so I'll deal with that. But we do go behind and check up on them.
question for you, and I didn't get a chance to look when I was coming down. 144th place. Is that blacktopped?
That's been blacktopped, trustee.
Okay, thank you very kindly. I've been on other missions. Okay. When Public Works go and do cut front yards, do they do the backyards? Because we have a lot of complaints.
Well, it depends on, we like I said, we're so understaffed doing so much. Like today, I had to pull guys off of shutting water off to move tables and chairs for the police department's activity tonight. So now you just took away from bringing money into the village because I have to go and help them. I brought other guys over this morning to move boxes, so that took them off the street again from shutting water off. So
move boxes for what, may I ask?
Just boxes that were in the village hall that need to go down into storage, down into the basement area. But that's okay. But I got them back out there. They were shutting off water and everything. But that does take away from time. And when we get some of these lots or vacant homes, if it's not that bad, I tell them if the back isn't that bad, don't get it. Do the front, make it look nice. Then we'll come back to it. Or we'll give it to Brian. He'll give it to the contractors that are working for us. But it's hard because we're getting pulled in 20 directions with 17 guys. 2 of them are mechanics, 1 of them's out, and that depends on if anybody's not on vacation. So we could be down to 9 or 10 guys in one day, depending on the day. So with cutting the grass, I'll have them do just the front yard, cut it and weed whip it and move on.
And you don't do bushes?
If somebody requests some, I tell them just, trim, cut them, trim, whatever we can do just to make it look decent to keep going.
Okay. Thank you for that answer. I do have dumping in the alley. Do Public Works go through alleys?
We've been through we've cleaned alleys in the valley today, and it'll be full tomorrow. So it's just, we do go through the alleys and pick. So I got a list of alleys to pick up tomorrow. We can pick them up. They'll be back again.
Okay.
Trustee Pearson, you can testify to that one.
Clean by alley, and it's right back there in a couple of weeks.
Okay, after water main breaks, how long is it before the area is repaired?
We try to get to it
in the
as quick
summertime, because I know if it's in the winter.
Well, we try to get to it quickly. We have been catching up with a lot of them this summer. Now that we're back on doing the water shutoffs, it kind of takes 2 to 3 guys off of restoring front parkways, quicker, because we got 2 or 3 of them going out digging and shutting water off.
Okay,
So, but we are doing them, and we're going through. We put the dirt down, put the grass seed, and we put the hay grass over it.
So tell me this, you made a statement back on water turnoffs.
Yeah, water shutoffs.
You say you back on it.
Yeah,
when did you get off of it?
They stopped for whatever reason.
They? Who is they?
No, I said the water shutoffs. The water shutoffs shut off or stopped probably a couple months ago or whatever. The problem with that was, you want to talk about water shutoffs, we're sitting here and we're paying employees to go out and work, to go out and shut water off. We can do 20 of them in the morning, shut them off. The afternoon,
they call you and tell you
we're
to
going to
back
turn
on.
10 of them back on because there was a mistake made. And there are people here that can testify to that. So we asked them kindly, before you start sending more over, can you make sure they're correct? Because we're just wasting time. So we started getting them again. It was going good. Yesterday and today, we had a couple bumps. So
What's the bumps? I need to know.
we had to go back and turn water on. We were shutting people off that shouldn't have been shut off.
Can you send me an email to that effect? I would appreciate it.
Yeah, I'll get the addresses tomorrow and send
Okay,
it
and
to
send
you.
it to me because, you know, they saying it's you. You saying it's them. So,
Excuse me, Miss Johnson, can I just get you to say it's not Public Works?
so I would like to know, it's not Public Works. Can you say that a little louder in the microphone?
It's not Public Works.
Thank you. Okay.
Public Works, you basically go by a list that they give you.
Yeah,
You
they
don't know
just-
if it's good or bad, you
Right,
just go by a
right.
list and you cut it off.
They send us over a sheet after 5 o'clock, and we print it out in the morning, and I give it to the guys, and they go. Lunchtime, 12, 1 o'clock. Yeah, there was a mistake. Can we get this turned on as soon as possible? Now I got to stop. I got to find them, have them go out, turn them back on. So,
Okay. I have a couple of more questions. Scrapping. Are we still taking scraps of... Pardon me?
nope.
Okay, thank you. Street sweeper. Is our street sweeper machine up and running?
Yes, it is. Hasn't been done yet.
Okay. This is the one that we own. Okay.
Yes,
So it's up and running.
yes.
And so were you guys the ones that was putting the orange signs on?
No, that was Elgin. They're contracted by the state, by IDOT, and they come through once a year and do the state roads.
State roads, okay.
So they come up and put the postings up and all that.
Okay.
And then
Say
after,
once a year?
yeah, once a year.
Those oranges would just
Yeah.
Yeah.
fall off as soon as they are.
So how do you go about choosing the streets that you're going down?
We follow the garbage route. Like if your garbage is picked up today, the sweeper should be coming tomorrow. It's rough with only having one sweeper.
Okay, do you do the state roads or you just leave them for...
We kind of hit them. No, we kind of hit them on like a Friday or a Monday, depending on if they're
Chicago
bad.
Road?
Yeah, like on a Friday or something or a Monday.
Okay.
You know, it depends because, like I said, it's hard with one sweeper because prior to that we used to have two, and you can complete the whole route in one day. With one, it's hard depending on leaves, debris, and all that out in the street.
Okay. Vacant lots. Actually, there's one on 148th and Chicago Road next to the Minister on the west side of the street. I know you guys used to cut it. You have cut it, and it haven't been, the grass is growing as tall as I am.
148th and...
Chicago Road.
Okay.
The old Eden's piece of La Rock.
Oh, okay.
It haven't been cut in a very long time,
Okay.
and I thought you all did vacant lots.
I'll go over there and have them take care of that either tomorrow or Monday. I know it's most of it's a concrete pad up there, or
Right.
gravel, but I'll make sure we go over there. and
You
get
have
that cut
the
down.
minister that live right next door. Keep,
Yes,
you know.
I got it.
Okay, thank you. That's all I have. If you guys have any questions. Feel free.
It sounds like you have a system for the street sweeper, which you said it follows garbage pickup. And it sounds like when you describe the pickup for the branches, it's on a by call only. There's no system in place that we go out regularly and do just by calls.
Right. We go by calls. We try and, grab a list by the end of the week, but due to having a low manpower, like I said, with the dig jobs, the water shutoffs and all that, it's kind of hard to keep a chipper out every day running through areas. So we kind of wait, we'll get a list together, and then we'll send it out and swoop through everything.
Mr. Stacy, do you know what, I'm trying to find out the most public works workers we had at any time that you could remember, even before your time. What's the number when we were at our max?
I came in at 29, and there were guys below me.
Okay.
When I started in 98.
And you have 17?
20 years.
No, you have 17
Oh, we have
under
17,
you?
yes.
And we had 29. Okay, that's all.
Okay. Do you have any more questions? If there are no more questions for Public Works, then I would like to open this up to citizens' address. Citizens' address. Also,
Hold on.
hello. Excuse me. One more question for you. Because I sent this other vacant lot in, and I don't recall, and I have to ask, pardon me? Did,
For,
The grass cut.
I know the contractors were doing that, but I'll go over there. I'll get it taken care of.
okay. So are there any citizens that want to address this committee?
Public Works. No.
Public Works.
I volunteer, need somebody to drive a car, I volunteer.
Must be retired.
Thank you.
I go to work every day,
Well, if there are no more questions,
I
then,
don't know. I think we should take them up on that.
then I thank you all for coming. And if I can get a motion to conclude this committee meeting.
A motion to adjourn.
Second.
Motion carries. We adjourn. Thank you all. I'm sorry, Denise, can you take the roll?
Trustee Muhammad.
Aye.
Trustee Stubbs.
Aye.
Trustee Pierce.
Aye.